My wife and I were both getting older, and we thought it would be a good idea to make arrangements ahead of time. The funeral director sat us down at a table and showed us the various plans and options that were available and what their costs would be. Showed us pictures of caskets and that sort of thing, and just what would be involved, and we established a baseline for a plan.
We've both experienced some losses over the last couple of years, and with Mom passing away just past summer and her stepfather passing away about 2 years ago, you know, there's just been events that made us think about maybe we should make our own arrangements.
The advantages of doing this is our children at such an emotional time won't have to go through trying to decide what would we want, the readings we wanted, the music we wanted, and not what our children would have to pick out, not actually knowing some of that stuff.
You get a peace of mind from knowing that your final arrangements are set, are ready when the time comes.
One advantage I found is that you have what you want, your wishes come into play. Also, you relieve your family of any maybe decisions that they would disagree on. And I think you should think ahead to the fact that you should have possibly a plot in a cemetery, if that's your wishes, the minister that you might want to conduct your services, and also I think you should put money ahead so that it's not left to other people to figure out how to bury you and what to do.
Prepaying certainly is you pay up front for everything that you can, including the casket and the flowers and for the announcements. When we pre-planned my mom's funeral, and we actually did prepay it, she had money in an account, and we used her money to prepay, and we went to the funeral parlor that she used for my dad. And so they were very helpful. The money that we paid was put in an account, and it was earning interest, and we had no idea that that was going to occur. So when my mom passed, because it was quite a while before she died that we had prepaid this, the cost went up for the announcements. Nothing else changed. But we had the money to pay for that. We would have anyway, but it was just interesting to note that that was already there, that we could pay more for the newspaper announcement.
At this stage of the game, I thought it was a good idea to make my pre-arranged burial so my children didn't have to do it. With all the stress, emotional things like that there, I think they have enough to do, and I want to relieve them of that.
We experienced it with my mom this past summer, and it was helpful because you're in such a state of grief and sadness that you really can't think straight. And so I'm glad that my father has made his arrangements, because now we know what he wants and he's going to get what he wants.
My brother Tim was ill, and he had Down syndrome and dementia, and he was really kind of fading. But my sister and I went. Timmy didn't have that much input in it because of his condition, but we went and we picked out everything that we needed to do and sat down with people and just planned the whole thing right out from start to finish, if you will.
I think in both of our cases, we knew my mom was going to, to pass away relatively soon, and we knew that Tim was going to pass away relatively soon. But having pre-planned their funeral, we were then able to spend the rest of the time that they were alive with them in the best way that we could. And so that when the death occurred, we already knew that everything was ready. All we had to do was call up the person that we had dealt with. And then when family came in, we just could spend the time with the family and relive all of the fun and happy memories that we had. So that really, really helped.
Death is part of life, and it's going to come to everyone, and it's one of those things that you're not going to escape from. It's like making out a will. It's going to happen. You're going to need it someday. Hopefully not tomorrow. Hopefully maybe not the day after. So it's really a good idea to pre-plan.
Pre-planning is truly a gift for those you leave behind. For more information, contact your local funeral home or the New York State Funeral Directors Association.